Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. I'm here to bring you our post-match reaction after we've lost our second game of the season with a 1-0 defeat away to Spurs at the Hive Stadium in London. So yeah, it doesn't feel great, to be honest. I think if you caught us talking pre-match and our build up to this game, you could see that we were quite positive, and we were really thinking that this was a game that they were going to win, and this is probably a game that we should win. Like, we've got some difficult games coming up, and this would have been perfect to get the ball rolling in terms of creating momentum and kind of pushing forward in getting the first win of the season under the belt, getting some goals scored, and it seemed like the perfect opportunity. Obviously losing 1-0 away to Spurs. Their goal comes from really late on in the first half in injury time. It's a penalty, and it's converted by Furness. Great penalty as well. Preuss was nowhere near it. But in terms of actually giving the penalty away, Furness comes in, and then Fahey makes a tackle, and James also comes in there. And to me, it just seemed like a collision. But anything like that that's in the box is gonna potentially be given as a penalty, and obviously it ends up like that, and we go 1-0 down going into half time. So that's the goal. In terms of how the first half started, I feel like it started really quite positively for us. Obviously Sweetman-Kirk has a few chances. Preuss then also makes some great saves throughout the game, not even just in the first couple of minutes, but first 10-20 minutes, but throughout the whole of the game I thought she made some great saves. We looked the better side in terms of moving the ball well, using the wings. Jay Bailey then being the centre cog in terms of her and Rodgers moving the ball up and down the field and out wide and then like that, and using the wingers like we used against Reading to really push up high and then cross the ball in. And what I noticed, we were taking a lot more shots from range. Obviously Rodgers has that one that goes over the bar. Later on in the second half, Clark and Lawley both had a shot from range, and it made their goalkeeper become more aware, but it didn't necessarily trouble them so much, and obviously didn't see the back of the net. So I think it's great that we're trying things like that to see what works. I also noticed towards the end of the first half, sorry, I keep getting them mixed up. Lawley and Clark were switching, so obviously Lawley plays the more central position, the playmaker role, beside Bailey and Rodgers. She was switching to outside, and then Clark was coming in, and the glimpses that I saw of Clark being in the middle and sort of picking the ball up from deep and bringing it forward was really good, because we all know that she's got the pace in order to do that, and she was able to kind of drop the shoulder on players and turn in and out and then feed the ball to the wingers. So I thought that I quite enjoyed seeing that happen, and also that Clark and Lawley partnership in terms of passing the ball, receiving the ball, a few flicks and turns around there, and getting around their defence and their midfield. I think that worked quite well as well. I don't like to be that negative, but in terms of negativity wise, we just gave the ball away way too often. There was times where we weren't even able to string 3 or 4 passes together, and with a team and quality of players that we have, that shouldn't really have been happening. I just think we lost a lot of rhythm, and it was being disrupted by that. Absolute credit to Tottenham today. They have come up into the top tier and have really brought the games to the teams that they've faced so far. And they played really well, and we played really well. It's frustrating because, as I said at the start of this video, like, we really need to be winning these sorts of games, and for some reason we're not. And it didn't really feel like we had that many clear-cut chances to actually score a goal or even cause them that much danger, in my personal opinion. Correct, like, others may have that, but I just feel like we didn't create enough in front of goal. Like, Sweetman-Kirk was almost non-existent for me. I think she's finding it really difficult, especially in these first few games, to sort of get into the box and get in the danger zones where the balls are coming in. I just think she was really just not there really. And with players like Perfield that Lawley that you've got, who are playmakers, Bailey as well, who we've brought into this side, you would have thought that you'd be able to see more from Sweetman-Kirk, but we've not really seen it yet. obviously going into half-time 1-0 down, you're thinking, oh, okay, like, not the best case scenario. We had chances to score, especially when we had loads of possession during the first half. Like, we could have made something out of that, but we didn't. But you're thinking, okay, half-time, that's fine. That's all right. It's not fine. It's all right. We'll go in and we'll see what happens in the second half. And obviously, second half comes around. Fahy gets a send-off after second yellow. It's obviously it is a yellow card because she pulls back Ayani, I think it was, who's basically in on goal if Fahy doesn't do that. Obviously down to 10 players then, which in itself puts a little bit more pressure because you're not entirely sure. I think Robe switches back to centre-back position. Perfield comes on for Rodgers. We get rid of the 6th player, sort of. Bailey kind of progresses in that area. But Perfield comes on, gets a bit of pace into the game because I think it definitely lacked pace after the first half an hour. It was really quite slow. The passing was really, really quite slow, and on the wings as well. Babajide coming on for Charles, who I hope she's not got a knock, but the commentator said that she was icing a shin after she'd come off, so hopefully there's nothing too bad there. Babajide comes on, bit of pace into the game, but the balls that Fahy and Bradders seem to be putting in just are going too far for these front players to be able to get. So when then possession turns over to Spurs and then they're able to do something with it, I thought Ayani causes a lot of problems. Furness got a few shots off for them. Davidson as well was running it a little bit. Graham, there's so many players that played really, really well for Spurs, and it was interesting to see how they would kind of face up against us, and they really, really brought the game to us. As I don't think I can stress it enough, we need to sort of knock this losing the ball too often. We need to get to sort of get a grip on that, because it was every third ball it seemed that we were losing possession. And I think with the way that we play in terms of counter-attacking, we sometimes don't see a lot of possession, especially when you come up against Man City and Arsenal. But then it's so important when you do have the possession that you're able to string loads and loads of passes together. I think it's a difficult game. I still believe it's a game that we should have won, and I know Vicky Jepson will not be happy with it. It got really, really, really physical towards the end of it, in terms of there were tackles flying in left, right and centre. Yellow cards been given out all the time, which on one hand is great to see because it's such a competitive sport and you're wanting to showcase the physicality of the game. But then it was also like Clark ended up on the floor, like more. You can count more times on your fingers how many times she ended up being fouled and brought down on the floor. Lawley had a few knocks as well, so it's also like this game was getting quite aggressive. I think the ref could have maybe got a bit better handle on it. But you sat at the end of it, okay, maybe after the red card, Spurs could have gone on and scored more, but we were able to kind of reel that in and keep quite tight at the back. It's a real shame. I really, really thought today that we were going to come away with a win, and I think we deserved to. But we've still not got the first goal of the season. We've still not got our first win of the season, and I'm just hoping that the cup game next week against Sheffield United at home, we're going to be there bringing you all this content again. I really hope that'll be where we can sort of kick off the season and really like progress on from that, because we've got a lot of tough games coming. Obviously, Man United the week after away. That's a difficult game that we're going to have to really, really try hard and get a win out of that, really. So, yeah, a couple of difficult games coming up. I'm really quite gutted today, but there's glimpses of things, as I said earlier, like the Charles Lawley link-up, the Charles playing more deeper things and then switching it around again. There's some great football that we can play, and there's glimpses, but we just need longer periods of that tempo and that accuracy and skill. We need longer periods of that in order to really push on and score. I just want to see more goals. Something that we liked last season was just goals consistently and a lot of the time. So I think it's difficult. It's hard to take today, but as I said, positives to go forward, and I'm interested to see what Jepson thinks after the game today. So if you like this video, please give it a like, let us know what you think, what your thoughts are after the defeat today. I know it's difficult, every defeat's difficult, but it's nice to talk about it, and it's nice to get it off your chest, and go in fresh-minded to next week's game. Make sure to check out Lauren's video of her player ratings. Interesting to see what she thinks. Obviously we're not in the same place, I'm back home, so she'll have a different view as to what I've got. Make sure you watch all the highlights on the app. I watched it on the app today and I didn't have any complaints. It's served the purpose well. When you can't get to a game, you watch it on the app and that's perfect. But yeah, make sure you like this video, comment your thoughts down below, subscribe obviously, catch up on our podcast from last week, there'll be one again next week, and then obviously all the post-match content, there you go, after Sheffield next weekend at home. And if you see us there down at Prenton Park, come and say hello. We'll more than likely we'll say hello back. We won't say yes, we will. Yeah, so thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.